Have you heard about the HUME Band? It's being marketed as this sleek, lightweight alternative to the Whoop strap, and at first glance, it does look appealing. They're selling it for somewhere around €200 to €230 after discounts, which makes it seem like a mid-range fitness device. But once you start digging, things start to get a little strange. The first thing that caught my attention is what the device actually is. The HUME Band claims to be a unique high-performance wearable designed by experts and backed by science. On their website, they list several scientists, like John Cardiff, PhD in Helen Casio, Maryland, who supposedly contributed to its design. But when you look closer, it's hard to find any real evidence that these people even exist. Some of the images used appear to be AI-generated or stock photos, which makes the whole scientific backing feel questionable at best. Now about the price, this is where things get even more confusing. The HUME Band is sold at €200, €230, but in some places, it's listed for over $8,000. That's a massive discrepancy for a tiny wearable device. And here's the kicker. A generic Chinese smart bracelet, which costs around €23, €28, can connect to the HUME app just as easily and works the same way. Essentially, the only difference between the HUME Band and this cheap alternative is the branding and packaging. Shipping also adds to the story. Both the HUME Band and the generic version seem to come from China through similar delivery routes, which points to a drop-shipping model rather than actual in-house production. It doesn't necessarily mean it's unsafe, but it does raise questions about what you're actually paying for. And HUME's other product, the BodyPod Smart Scale, might be following the same pattern, essentially a rebranded version of existing devices like the Xiaomi scale. All this isn't to say the HUME Band is completely useless. It does come with a custom app, which is a nice touch, and the idea of having a compact wearable tracker is appealing. But when you look at the value proposition, it becomes hard to justify the price. You're paying a big markup for branding, and a supposedly scientifically designed device that doesn't have much verifiable evidence to back up its claims. If you're after a wearable that gives you solid tracking and real value, there are cheaper options out there, like the Amazefit Helio Strap or other generic Chinese bracelets. They won't have the fancy branding, but they do the job. And if you want a premium, well-supported device, the Whoop strap remains one of the most reliable options, even though it comes with a higher price tag. In the end, the HUME Band is a classic example of a product that looks impressive on the surface, but doesn't hold up under scrutiny. A slick app and a few marketing claims don't necessarily make a product worth hundreds of euros, especially when an almost identical device is available for a fraction of the cost. So if you're considering the HUME Band, take a moment to think about what you're actually paying for. It might look cool on your wrist, but there are better options out there that deliver real value without the questionable marketing hype.